Good evening, everybody, and welcome to F1 tonight. And this is a little bit of an exclusive. We've got into a habit of starting to stream our test sessions, and we also use it as a facility to test any stream activities that we're going to be doing. So myself, I'll be in the commentary box. As you can see, we've just got under 7 minutes of this qualifying session, so it's just one full quali, and then we'll do a 15-lap race, although obviously we can't set the game to 15 laps, so it's going to be set at 100%, but the drivers will go 15 laps. And this evening we are testing 3 drivers: Street Racing F1, ex-Tokiers, and Clinical. Unfortunately, Clinical looks like he's gone out at this moment in time, but don't think, not too sure what's happened there. Also in the commentary box, I am joined in this evening by a new member to our broadcast team, and that is Phoebe. Good evening, Phoebe.
Hello, it's good to be here. Looking forward to, seeing what I can bring to this team in the coming races, and hopefully helping everyone put on an awesome show for all you guys watching. One thing I would like to point out while that introduction was on is a yellow flag did come up in Sector 3. That was because of, I believe it's Tom Johnson in one of the Ferraris, did go off and nearly had an issue with one of the barriers.
Oh dear. Yeah, we're actually on board with Tom Johnson now. Now, I will bring up Tom Johnson's tag and see if you can spot the error there. Yes, you guessed it. He's in the McLaren colours, so Tom doesn't race with F1 Tonight UK. He is normally in the McLaren, but he's decided to go in the Ferrari this evening. Thanks, Tom. Really helps me, that one. So
can I just interrupt you there for a moment, because we've got what looks like a Toro Rosso going a bit slow on circuit after, I think, an issue when he had a yellow flag in Sector 2.
Yeah, it looks to me like that's Ross Milburn.
Yeah.
So
just
Ross
picked
Milburn,
up a yellow flag in Sector 3.
Just taking it easy there at this moment in time. Let's quickly run where we are with the drivers at this moment in time. Tom Stevens in the Ferrari setting the fastest lap on a 104.355 currently into the pits. Ross Milburn, second fastest. That's who we were just looking at there on a 104.819. And, yep, he's coming into the pits as well, by the looks of it. Street Racing coming around into the Racing Point. So we are looking at him taking the Racing Point seat. So we'll see how that runs. We've got him in his Racing Point colours there for his tag. Obviously, he hasn't got his F1 Tonight tag as yet, but he would be running under ST Sean Street. So that's number 90. That's who we're currently on board with. He's coming up to turn 3 there. So we'll see how that works out. Obviously, these drivers, as I said, are being tested. So not just for speed, but also for style, racecraft, and obviously awareness of others that are on track as well. So that's Sean Street there, aka Street Racing F1. He's in third place with a 105.3. Jamie Good in a 105.4. Jamie, new addition to F1 Tonight UK, racing under number 49. So he's coming out with us this evening to help out with the test session. And he's currently into the pits. Then we have ex-Tokiers. Now, ex-Tokiers, I'm just trying to think who that is. I'm pretty sure that is...
that is Jack Wilson, according to the Discord notes, with driver number 93.
Just going to do not disturb there, so I don't get disturbed. Sorry, who was that?
Jack, according to the Discord notes,
Jack Wilson.
Jack Wilson, car 93.
Yeah, that's the one.
I believe Williams.
Yeah, so he is in the Williams. There's his tag there. I'll bring that up during the course of the race. But we also do have a driver who is clinical. That's the driver there that's just jumped out. He's in the Mercedes. And... that is Yul Thyssen, who's actually trying out for a seat for F1 Tonight NL. So we've just simply included him with this test. So we'll come on to that. He's racing in a Mercedes this evening, although that would not be the seat he'd be occupying. He'd actually be occupying a Racing Point, which is the vacant seat that we have in F1 Tonight NL at this moment in time. So Adrian Rich going out on track. Adrian, co-commentator with myself on a Thursday night for F1 Tonight NL, and races on a Tuesday night with F1 Tonight UK in the Red Bull there. So he's out on track. Then we have Basden Bryan, currently second in the Dutch F1 Tonight NL League. So he's joined us as well this evening in his McLaren. Let's quickly add him in, I might as well. A little bit jiggery-pokery going to be going on here. There we go, that's good enough. So Basden Bryan is who we are on board with at this moment in time. We have Guido Urshan, his teammate. Oh, he's coming as well. Wasn't expecting him. So we've got both McLarens actually from F1 Tonight NL in. And Guido going up to 6th there. Callum Widdowson. So Callum is with us, new driver to F1 Tonight UK in his Renault, so under his own colours this evening. So that's Cameron Widdowson going into P11.
Something's just happened with Tom Street. He's just gone into one of the gravel pits after going straight on in sort of the back half of the sector, if I may interrupt.
That's Tom Stevens in. Yeah, that's Tom Stevens in the Mercedes. It's okay, Phoebe. Don't worry, Phoebe. You'll soon get used to it. It took me a while to get used to it, but you'll soon get used to it. So no worries. Yeah, that's Tom Stevens in the Mercedes F1 Tonight UK driver, currently sitting 4th in the championship. He's had a couple of DNFs the past races. Started off fantastically, Australia, Bahrain, but hasn't been quite able to pull it together. But,
saw the spectacular crash I think he had last time out in Azerbaijan.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, that was a hell of a race, wasn't it? So did you catch the Azerbaijan race then, Phoebe?
Not all of it, because of uni work and all of that, but I did see the beginning stages of it, and I think so I had to tune out just shortly after the incident. You've got to watch the rest of it. I can guarantee you. Let me put it like this: I'll give a little bit of the game away. Only 3 cars crossed the line. Ooh, that.
It was harsh. It was harsh.
That's harsh. Right,
it was harsh.
I don't even think proper Formula One has had a race like that yet.
Well, you never know. You never know. It can all happen. So there are standings at the end of it. Tom Stevens does take the pole for the start of the race. Ross Milburn is going to be alongside him in that Toro Rosso. Row 2, P3. Sean Street Racing in the Racing Point. Jamie Good will be next to him. Then Adrian Rich will be 3rd row, P5. Extokia in the Williams will be alongside him. Guido Urshan, row 4, P7. Clinical, the new Mercedes driver alongside him. Basden Brown in row 5. And we'll run with the grid order once we get them up.
I think one of the AIs managed to somehow crash a Red Bull.
Yeah, no, the AIs do. As soon as the quali's over, the AI takes control, and they invariably smash into something. So there you have there. That's the running order. So Lee will be alongside, Basden Brown will be alongside Tom Johnson. Then we have Cameron Widdowson in the Renault. He's row 6, P11. Tony Foster in the Ferrari will be P12. And Boy Williamson in the Red Bull. F1 Tonight Netherlands driver will be in row 7. So 13 drivers actually we've got for this test session. Thank you very much, guys, for showing up. Great support there, as always.
That should make a bit of an interesting sprint race coming up now, with having half the grid there.
Yeah, I mean, so as I said to you, obviously, with regards to it, when we test under normal racing conditions. So we run with, I think, minimum assists. Certainly all the cars are equal. So that's what we're looking at, really, with regards to that. So it's making the cars equal. There are strict racing conditions, so they do have to stick well within the bounds. It is set at 100% race, but obviously, as a test session, we'll only be running it up to 15 laps. And this Austria track, obviously, very, very fast track indeed. Sector 1 takes us from the start finish, takes us round to just after between turns 6 and 7. And then you got Sector 2. Sorry, turns out it takes us up from start finish down to turn 3. Sector 2 takes us to between 6 and 7, and then the final sector takes us from there to the start finish line. So drivers are off. Tom Stevens leads the way. Ross Milburn is in. And a contact there with Ross Milburn, and the looks like that was the Williams.
On that Toro Rosso.
Yeah, that was the Williams. Oh, dearie
So
me, that is not what we were looking at there.
After that. Yeah, he's losing places. Oh, nearly contact as the Red Bull nearly goes back into the Toro Rosso under the braking zone there. Is there a bunch of... And he does now!
Yeah, a lot of contact at the rear there. Ross Milburn, Adrian Rich, Boy Williamson trying to come through, obviously from 14. So Danny Burt's moved up 3, Tony Foster up 2, Cameron Widdowson in a Renault up 2, Baz de Brain up 1, up 4 though. Tom Johnson in that Ferrari looking solid. Clinical is up 3, and Tom Johnson's challenging Clinical now as they come around turn 7-8. They're coming uphill. They're in the third and final sector now. Clinical in that Mercedes. He's got ex-Tokyo right on the back of him there. And then if we run through ex-Tokyo, actually takes the place from Guido Urshan. Clinical is in 3. Street Racer is in 2. Leading the way is Jamie Good at this moment in time in that racing point. Street Racer is proposed co-driver in the team, is in 2nd, so looking good for them at this moment. There's Clinical in that Mercedes. He's currently in 3rd place.
I've got to say...
Oh, he's coming in, look at this. Oh, contact there, wheel-to-wheel contact as they're coming round turn 3. They've got the DRS now. Oh no, sorry, DRS won't be activated till lap 3, do apologise. Yeah, so it'll be lap 3, so they haven't got the DRS.
I've got to say for Tom Stevenson, I kind of feel bad for him, as in that when we were focusing on that scuffle towards Sector 3 at the end of the last lap, his car kind of went off circuit and spun round, and he's now down into 13th from leading the race. Yeah,
Tom Stevens indeed has dropped 12 places, as you can see there, down in P13, spun out. Tony Foster is currently in P9, and he's challenging Tom Johnson in the other Ferrari there as they're coming round turn 9 into 10. Look at this, and you've got the Renault there, Cameron Widdowson in the background. Tony Foster's going to look to make the move now into turn 1. Can he make it stick? Oh, and he's lost a bit of his front wing there. He's lost the winglet on the left-hand side. Bit of contact there with his teammate for this Austria test run. But you can see there Cameron Widdowson coming alongside him now as they're coming into 3. Ooh, late braking, very, very slow, but gets the power down. And the Mercedes there of Tom Stevens getting straight past him. Tom Stevens showing his speed here. Very competent driver. Oh, nearly contact there with the Cameron Widdowson nearly going into the back of that Mercedes there. Cameron Widdowson still very close. Tony Foster there in P11.
Yeah, just observing Cynical here. Each lap he seems to be closing within that sort of 3/10 distance to Street ahead of him in the racing point. He's got DRS heading up towards turn 1. The mount curve is unfortunately not able to get in there at the moment, but he will be able to pick up DRS, spot the drag, moves out left-hand side, inside, towards the braking zone of turn 3, and that gets ahead of him, braking. Makes the move stick, and he's now moved up into 2nd place.
sorry, I'm talking away and I don't have my mic down, so that was my mistake there, Phoebe.
Yeah, I couldn't hear on that. Right.
No panic, you've got to cover that. If a situation like that arises, just cover, keep talking.
Alright.
So no worries on that. So yeah, I do apologise. I was actually watching the action in the background there with Cameron Woodson and Tom Johnson, and as Cameron actually got T-boned by his teammate racing in the Ferrari this evening, Tom Johnson, so I missed that. So I missed the action, but Clinical obviously has come through and done some good moves to split those racing points, hasn't he?
Yeah. He's showing incredible pace.
Whoa, power sliding. Oh, loses it. Sorry. He's just lost it. Out of 6, down towards 7. Power sliding out of 6. And
that's not what you want to see an F1 car doing.
Not really.
Sorry, I mean, not Tokyo Drift.
It was. Well, I was going to say it was a pretty decent drift, though, Phoebes. Let's be honest.
Oh, it's a decent. It's a decent slide, yes, but that's not what you want to be seeing a Formula 1 car doing. They're built for straight line speed, not going sideways.
Yeah, that is very true. Tom Stevens putting in the fastest lap so far. 106, I think that was, or was it a 108? I couldn't quite see when it came up.
Not quite sure, but it is the
Ross Milburn picks up a 3-second time penalty. So Tom Stevens has now come all the way up. Remember, he dropped to 13. He's now up to P5. 8 laps are now remaining, and he's pushing hard, Tom. But you can see Clinical as well.
4 cars stacked up this second and third spot.
Yeah.
It's going to be tight. Oh, was that contact?
No.
An end plate that came flying off?
Could be. It could be some debris on the track. Basden Brain really pushing Sean Street, aka Street Racing F1. But equally, Clinical. Oh, look at this. Clinical side by side, wheel to wheel there with Tom Stevens. And Tom Stevens gets ahead. So Tom Stevens gets ahead of Clinical. Good move there. That was real wheel to wheel action as they were coming around 7 and 8.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but I just got the notification that Toro Rosso is out of the race now.
Yeah.
DNF.
He has DNF'd, not too sure what sector that is in. But Basden Brain now under pressure from Tom Stevens. Makes the movement and Baz just lets him through. No real challenge there from the McLaren.
Pressure the... and as that previous lap, it actually looks like the McLaren... Does it have damage to the barge boards there? I can't tell.
No damage, but look at that. Clinical coming through there. Yeah. Round the McLaren of Basden Brain. Moves up into that P4 position.
And Stevens as well gets ahead of Street Racing.
Yep, Tom Stevens gets past that racing point. His next target now is Jamie Good, and he's just under 5 seconds ahead of him on the track.
Yeah. So there's what, 6 laps to go until we end this. If Stevens is able to take second lap out, do you think he'll be able to get the lead back after his mistake?
He's got 6 laps to do it in. The question is I would think that we're going to have to change onto a tyre. Basden Brain's come in and gone on to the medium tyre, so they all started on the soft. The question is when does he come in? 4 seconds, pit stop here is relatively... I think it's around about 20 seconds.
20 seconds.
Yeah, I think it's around about 20 seconds. It's going to be interesting. He's going to, maybe one of them's going to try and do an undercut. Obviously, Tom Stevens is the one that's lined up to do an undercut. Whether he does, good question. He's going to have to go on to the softs. Obviously, Basden Brain coming a little bit early there, we've just seen at the end of lap 8 and gone on to those medium tyres. So it's a question of when he's going to come in, actually. He's not coming in on this one. Street Racer isn't coming in. Jamie Good.
He's took about 2 seconds out of the lead on that lap alone. So really switched on the pace.
Adrian Rich has got ahead of Clinical. Clinical's come into the pits, so Clinical is into the pits now. So that's out of third place. It's going to be interesting to see where he comes out.
And he's going on to another set of the soft tyres, and he's getting a front wing change there.
I wasn't too sure whether they need to go on to another set of softs, or I guess as long as they do a pit stop. It could be that these guys, I'm not too sure what, I don't think the regs are they need to come in and do a pit stop on the test, but obviously some have. The question is can these guys go to 15 laps on these soft tyres? I very much doubt it, but they might want to push it. Risky, I've got to say, it is a risky call. Tom Stevens is now trying to bear down. He lost time there, but well, I say he's lost time, he's actually made up time. He's really closing down here on Jamie Good.
Yeah, in the last 2 laps, made up, what, 3 seconds now? Nearly 5 seconds to under 2 seconds.
And Ex-Tokiers is closing down on Jamie Good, but that's actually just to unlap himself. Now, Tom Stevens is going to be coming up on him fairly rapidly. They're coming round 2 now, so basically they've got a back runner in between them there. The advantage of Jamie Good is that he's passed him. The disadvantage Tom Stevens has, he needs to get past him. So he's certainly there. Yeah, but the Ex-Tokiers moves aside. Wasn't too sure which side to move. Moved aside. He's let Tom Stevens through. So, and in the meantime, Adrian Rich has got ahead of Boy Williamson on the track. So let's have a look at that. I think, I think Boy probably, he may have eased off there. I'm not too sure with regards to that. Clinical down in 10, Tom Johnson 11, Ex-Tokyo, as I said, in 12 there. Jamie Good now, you can see Tom Stevens bearing down on him. Rose on the rough there. Oh yeah, a bit scrappy round 10.
It's a DRS range, so he will have DRS on this main straight. I don't think he'll be able to close the distance heading up towards the loud curve here.
No, but he's got the second DRS here out to... Oh, and Jamie Good really going off there. Oh, that was close. Jamie got a little bit wobbly there. And
I think that's also allowed the Williams to unlap itself.
Yeah, the Williams has now unlapped himself, but this isn't going to help Jamie Good because he needs to get past him now. And obviously, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the blue flags work in situations like this. Always interesting. In the meantime, Boy Williamson closing down on Adrian Rich, who just came past him. Not too sure if he's going to be looking to make the move. He's got the second DRS out of turn 3 there. Rather the first DRS.
Looks to be up on the tail and actually now getting past into the run down turn 3 with one of the Hasses.
Yeah, Daniel Burt
into 9th place.
So yeah, Clinical gets past Daniel Burt as they're coming into 3. Daniel Burt in the Hass there. Oh, I hate the sound of that Hass, it sounds horrible on this. Tom Johnson. There in 11, Ex-Tokiers, as we said, in 12. DNF's Ross Milburn, which is a great shame, and Cameron Widdowson. I'm sure he'll have something to say with his Renault teammate there. So Tom Stevens leads. Yeah, Tom Stevens leads the way. 2 laps remaining for this test.
I've got to say, test or not, this has been a great recovery drive for Tom Stevens.
Yeah,
after
definitely.
that first lap incident and spinning down all the way into 13th at the end of the first lap. And to make it all the way up into first place again just shows his caliber as a driver, regardless of the run of luck that he's had of late with the previous races throughout the season. Yeah,
that is true. I mean, you know, we know he's a quality driver, but obviously needs to get it together on these 100%ers. Street racer, Tev Sting, obviously Sean Street. I've got to say, looking good. He's going to be placing P3 as it stands at this moment in time with his proposed teammate there, Jamie Good, who's also new to F1 Tonight UK. But Street racer, yeah, I think he's held up well there. 3rd place. 3.5 seconds off the back. Boy Williamson gets back past Adrian Rich.
Yeah, Adrian Rich just had a moment going out wide. The final
10-10,
allowed its
Boy Williamson to get past him. Yeah, so Boy Williamson gets past Adrian Rich there. Baslin Brown in 6, Tony Foster 7, Guido Urshan 8. Clinical in the Mercedes is in 9, Daniel Burt 10, Tom Johnson in the Ferrari 11, and Ex-Tokia's 12. But again, you know, we're not looking for all-out speed, just general racecraft and ability.
Yeah, and I think Rich doesn't like the fact that he made a moment as he's managed to make a move past his teammate. Didn't quite stick on the inside of, I think, turn 4 or 5. But he's holding the car quite nicely behind him.
Hang on, I've just jammed up. Okay, my game's just jammed up and my Xbox has shut down.
Oh, that's
harsh.
You hate to see it.
Okay, so we'll just cut, and while I try and figure out what on earth happened there, and get the Xbox back up and running. So interesting, certainly initial race there in Austria, and we saw Sean Street, who's a tester, coming in 3rd place there, so not too bad. Ex-Tokia is one of the others coming in the back, and then we had the other drive test test driver in the middle of the field. But try and see what's going on here.
Think.
So that was definitely a glitch that froze up the Xbox there as I was switching to drivers.
Yeah.
So just starting up, and we'll be back with them soon. You are obviously still in there, so if you want to do a little rundown and the times, I don't know if that's up on the screen at this moment in time for you.
Yeah. No, they're still, I think, trying to red flag the session or something and smash their cars.
So they're just finishing off the 15 laps. If you can give me the order, though, Phoebe, that'd be great from first to last.
From first to last, we have kind of a bit unreliable at the moment, but our top 3 were still Stevens, followed by one of the 2 Racing Points, I believe.
Jamie Good.
Yeah, Jamie Good, and then Street. Then it was the 2 Red Bulls, I think, finishing Adrian Rich and his teammate in 5th place. Outside of that, I can't really tell you at the moment because with this being a test session and them trying to...
Yeah, they've jumped out effectively. Yeah, so they've all sort of crashed the cars, etc. The next track we'll be going on to will be Monza. That's interesting because I can't. I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to keep streaming. I was actually going to take part in the race, but I just realised I can't really do that because we can't co-stream, unfortunately. If we could co-stream, then obviously that'd be great, and we'll have to look into that. But I won't actually be able to get behind the wheel. I was looking forward to that, doing a little bit of Monza.
Yeah, Monza is a nice circuit. The one thing I gotta say is if we were to compare the 2 circuits that we'll be racing on tonight, though they're vastly different, Austria, I think, is a bit more of a technical circuit with the way how Sector 2 works, and how you're managing the sort of like throttle percentiles as you go through all the corners.
Yeah.
Compared to Monza, which is just you either lift slightly or just a tap of a brake going into a corner, and you just carry on full speed, with a few exceptions like turn 1, turn 2 chicane, and I think turns 3 and 4 or 4 and 5 as well, where the second chicane is.
Yeah, that's very true indeed. I've got to agree with you on that one. So looks like we're up and running again. So I'm just going to go across now back to the screen and to our test session. So we are now just awaiting the drivers coming in, and for this one here, And I'm sure I've got multiple messages coming in as to what I'm doing. So if you could just take the lead, I'll be with you in a second, my friend.
It appears I've backed out of the lobby for that, so I need another invite in.
Okay,
yeah.
So that was just me communicating with Adrian there, because I was going to jump in for the Monza run, but well, not happening. Can't get in there, so Adrian gets to stay in for another race. I'll have to arrange this for another day. I'm really disappointed with that, Phoebe. I was looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think I'm going to need another invite in because.
Have you not got
the
there?
lobby?
Okay, you should be able to join, but let me just send you an invite. Bear with me 1 second. You should be able to join on me. If you just go on to me, you should be able to join.
Yes. Right. That's joining, so that's loading now.
Okay, so that's cool. So, driver's just waiting to get ready. I can see we've got some good Scottish flags there, other than the Union Jacks as well. So that's ex-Tokias and street racing.
Would crack open a can of Iron Brew for them, but I'm all out.
Oh, well,
Finished that off. Finished that off this morning.
So ex-Tokias Jack Wilson and street racing Sean Street, both waving the flag for that beautiful country of Scotland. Gotta say, great place. And I am a haggis lover. I don't care what people say. I like it.
I mean, it's got some good roads.
It's got they do have some very good roads. That's a very good point, actually. They've got some excellent roads, especially in the Highlands, running alongside the lochs there. They look absolutely fantastic. So we are at
just
Monza.
A shame there's some traffic on them.
Yeah, well, that's the only problem. Yeah, well, you know, try late night. So we are now at Monza, and for a qualifying session is going to be the same. So it's going to be a full qualifying session, and it's a shame I can't actually. I'm just trying to. I can't co-stream. I need to resolve that, because it would be dead handy if we could get your stream coming up as well. And it is raining. Oh, Monza in the wet for a qualifying session. I don't think the drivers are going to enjoy this one so much. It's going to make it interesting because it's a very, very fast track, Monza, but you've got those tricky chicanes of the Desmos there, and that's going to be quite problematic.
I think in the wet you lose close to what, 30-40 seconds a lap.
Well, Parabolica.
Tires.
You don't want to be going around Parabolica at the normal rate you might do. That's for sure.
I definitely got to say to Cynical, please do not attempt to slide your Formula 1 car in these conditions, because it is not going to end well.
No. No, that is very true.
I think our first driver out, if qualified to at least set an outlap in these conditions, will be Cameron Whittleson in the Renault, as he makes his way down towards turn 1 now. A bit slow through there, as his kind of braking was a bit off. Towards turn 1, and kind of left it a bit late, which kind of screwed over his entry into turn 2, which is why you saw him going a bit slow. But it's an outlap. You can kind of make these mistakes. You're judging the conditions and getting used to the tyres, and obviously with this being a short qualifying session, there's been no one out there already to lay rubber down and make dry lines. So I don't think in these conditions you kind of want to be the first driver out, because you're paving that dry line for everyone else. you've just got to deal with the slippery, less traction stuff. So, at the moment he's in the Ascari chicane, in the run down towards the Parabolica and starting his first time lap. We do have a couple of others out on the circuit, Cynical, the Racing Point, and I think Tom Stevenson and Street in the other Racing Point. So we've got a good 4 or 5 drivers out, and most of them are now starting their first time-lapse session. Cameron Wilson does have it nice and tidy through the first 2 corners, making his run down towards Curva Grande. We do have a yellow flag, so someone might have misjudged their braking zone here. As we now run down in the second chicane. That's nice and tidy through there, a bit slow, but that is the conditions at play. Down towards the first Lesmo, a bit wide, I think, but keeps it tidy, minus a bit of a wobble on the exit. Makes it around the second Osmo. Will not have DRS because of wet conditions in the run down towards the Ascari chicane. Usually this will be the second DRS zone of the circuit, main straight being the other one, but obviously with raining, you don't want that rear wing opening on you. That would be a nightmare as he makes his way round tidily through the chicane, no moments there. His run down towards the Parabolica, we'll be looking to break about the 50-yard mark. Gets it nice and tidy. Not too wide on the exit of the Parabolica through there, and that should be a 1:31 is the fastest lap time. So that's about, I think, 20 seconds slower off pace compared to the usual dry conditions in the circuit.
Okay, so we're on board with Clinical now. He's coming down that back straight towards Parabolica. Coming into Parabolica now. Making it nice and easy. 1:31 sector time so far. He's not going to make a fast lap on there, but does a 1:37. Jack Wilson, aka Clinical, sets 1:37 time. Adrian Rich is 5th on track, he's on his outlap. Daniel Burt currently coming through the Variante Scari onto that back straight down towards Parabolica. Sorry Dan, didn't load your tag in mate, but I'm sure you won't hold it against me. Round Parabolica, nice and smooth round there. Using the full width of the track. Looking a good time though. Looking a very good time. 1:30.7 puts in provisional P2. So good time there from Dan Burt. Tony Foster coming round now through Variante onto that back straight. What can he do on Ferrari's home ground here? The Fortozzi. Is it Fortozzi? What are they called in the Ferrari fans?
The Tifosi.
Hey?
It's the Tifosi or something?
Yeah, Tifosi.
Yes, it's the Italian something.
Yeah. It's the Italian, don't you know? Come on now, don't you be joking. Ferrari, they're best in the world. So, yeah. Tony Foster sets a 1:32.4. Clinical 1:34.9. Oh, Adrian Rich completely missing. Missing there. Where was that? And that was the first. That was the first there. So that was Variante. First Variante completely misses it. Goes over. Barry Boy Williamson still in the pits. X-Tokyo. Actually, I've got that wrong. X-Tokyo, I do apologise. He's actually Jack Wilson. The other guy there was Jules Bison. No? Where are we? Clinical. Yeah, that's Clinical's in the Mercedes. Yeah, so that's Jules Bison. Yeah. So that's who that was. Tom Stevens in the Mercedes there. Coming now down towards the Scari. Really gingerly through there, I'd say. He's not really, but then again.
It is where. Oh, and the Williams of Jack Wilson. Moment. Something. He's definitely got front wing damage.
So we could be looking at X-Tokyo's there, Jack Wilson with damage. Oh, and interestingly, Tom Stevens comes into the pits. Okay, Tom Johnson out on track now. And Tom Johnson has reverted to his McLaren. Yeah, I was saying he was teammate with Cameron Widdowson. He isn't. Obviously, he's teammate with Gary McKenny in the UK. So my error there. So Tom Johnson in his McLaren now coming round. As we can see. 1:15 at this moment in time. I think he's probably going to be around about a 1:35.
I think at this moment in time, it's going to be, given the conditions, difficult.
Yeah, he's into the pits.
Anyone to get up towards Cynical's time of the 1:29.8.
I've got to say that is a blinding time there.
That is a blistering time for these conditions. You can see a bit of a dry line forming on track from where the intermediate tyres have sucked up all that water and sort of like a very expensive, very fast vacuum cleaner and just sprayed it out off the racing line.
Certainly a great line
for these cars.
Great run there from Yul Thyssen. That's going to take me a bit of time to get used to that one. So Yul Thyssen. Still, I've got Nishay Mahadwa Singh, so if I can do that, I'm going to get this one.
Yeah, I've still got all of them to learn, yeah.
It'll be okay. You'll get there. So, obviously, Phoebe helped me out with the commentary this evening for myself, just so she can get a feel for it and basically get an idea of how it runs. And we will be looking forward to do the driver interviews at the end. So for F1 Tonight UK, Phoebe will be in to do the podium interview of the top 3 drivers, and then as time goes on we'll obviously bring her in on a number of tracks, so sticking with UK at this moment in time. So if you've got any requests, any particular questions, I think Phoebe, I mean, it'd be good maybe to drop us a line and we can pass that on to you, so you can maybe ask some questions from some of the F1 Tonight fans out there of the drivers.
I mean, I do have the chat open from the stream, so
there you go.
I believe if the plan is to still talk to people tonight, if anyone does have any questions for any of the drivers that we'll bring on, you can leave them in the chat, and I will pick from some of them.
Yeah, maybe yeah. I mean, maybe we can have a chat with the drivers that are being tested. Obviously, get an idea of what maybe they think and how the test went for them, and where they think that they did well, or where they think they didn't do so well.
Yeah, that would be nice. As for this qualifying session, as I think we're now at distance, it's kind of surprising to still see that there's 3 drivers that haven't set a time yet.
Oh dear, Boy Williamson going right through Scari there, just missing it completely.
It's no attempt to corner.
I wonder if he was seeing if there was a possible cheat there for future reference. Danny Burt on an out lap at this moment in time. So Dan Burt on a lap, just coming into the end of his out lap, so we might follow him around the next lap. Street Racer currently P6, Cameron Wilson 7, Tony Foster 8. Peter Phillips is in as well from F1 Tonight Netherlands. Extokia there, who is Jack Wilson. Oh, he's just lost it into the wall there. Oh, dearie me. He did not want to be doing that as he was coming effectively out of Lesmo, turn 7 down the Seraglio. Lost traction, went into the barrier, and that means that Jack Wilson, unfortunately, is out of this qualifying session. So great shame there.
Leave Daniel Perez coming
and
up
Tom Johnson now losing it as he was coming out of Ascari, goes right across the track, gets it back, and steps on his way down that back straight. So maybe the drivers are starting to get a little bit more comfortable pushing that little bit more there, it looks like. So that's an interesting one. Tom Stevens,
it's going to be
leading the way. I mean, Tom on a 128.2. That is ridiculously fast on this under wet conditions, isn't it?
Yeah. So what I'm thinking at the moment is you've got 4.5 minutes left of the session. There appears to be quite a dry line forming on circuit. Will we see anyone chance taking off the inters and moving towards slicks, as Daniel Burrows now coming around with a 129.7 to move up into provisional second place at the moment and split those two Mercedes just by 10 of a second. But yeah, it will be interesting to see when, within the next 4 minutes, will someone chance picking up some slicks, and if they're even able to chance picking up some slicks, because there is no guarantee that the track will dry in the allotted time.
I just don't think we got a dry enough line there for the guys to pick up slicks. I'd say it's pretty much borderline on the intermediates, to be brutally honest with you there, Phoebe. I don't think we're going to see slicks coming out. I don't think we will. We are racing under wet conditions here. We are testing drivers under those wet conditions. So the race itself will be under wet conditions as well. The guys obviously are out on intermediates. So I would suspect that the race is going to be intermediates all the way through. But it could be we might need to go onto some wet. So it could be that it might dry up a bit. I don't know. But at this moment in time, I think that racing line is just too wet for slicks. I think there's no way slicks would work there. So we are in pure intermediate territory.
Yeah, I'm not too sure on how this game works when you select and if the conditions are still
because we race under realistic conditions. So on that basis, you don't have the same sort of control. I mean, you can dial up obviously all your assists, which would probably help you, but that is not the case with F1 tonight. So it is purely on the driver's skill at this moment in time. I mean, I certainly would agree with you if maybe we were looking at a little less groundwater, but as it stands at this moment in time, unlikely. We've only got, 220? Oh, yeah.
When you selected wet as a start, if it just stayed like that, or it still had the randomised sort of adaptiveness
it does have a certain...
conditions have.
Yeah, it does have a certain amount of randomisation, but if you're choosing wet conditions, it will be wet conditions. You could choose, maybe wet going to dry. I believe you can, I've got to say, but to be brutally honest, I've never actually set it up myself with regards to that. But I think depending on the session, on the race, you certainly can.
The coin.
Yeah, pretty much. So, I think this is pretty much where we're going to see it, actually. I've got to be honest with you. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Phoebe. I mean, 2 minutes remaining. We have got guys out on track, but we're on board.
The lap times at the moment look like it's a 1:28. The fastest, it's averaging about 1:30. So if anyone wanted to get a second lap in, or even leave from the pits to get a lap in, they needed to have left about 40 seconds ago, maybe just to make sure.
Got to say, I'm on board. Sorry, I'm on board with
Yule
Yule Thyssen at this moment in time, and he is doing a blinding time here. This is going to be very fast indeed. And it's a 1:29.0. Oh, look at that! Only 8/10 of Tom Stevens. That is a good run there from Yule Thyssen.
He just drove past Red Bull facing the wrong direction in the pit lane.
Yeah, looks like somebody had lost it there on the exit of the pits. But fantastic run there from Yule Thyssen, getting up into that second place at a 1:29.0. Quite impressive indeed.
I don't think anyone's going to be joining the top 5. Not when you've got 2 guys in the pits, 2 guys on out laps. Maybe they'll make it round in the 20 seconds. I don't know where they are on track between Daniel Bro and Cameron Wooderson. It looks like our top 5, at least at the moment, could be set in stone with Tom Stevens and Cynical, Racing Point, Daniel and Adrian Rich. Looks like that looks like set in stone. At least with Daniel
and Adrian puts it into the wall. He loses it on the entrance into Parabolica, goes straight across the gravel and straight into the barrier there. Oh my goodness me.
Just watching that one on stream, it's like, if that was a real Formula 1 crash, that would not look pretty. That would not be a pretty one.
No, definitely
the
not.
Impact was bad. The impact into the Tecpo barrier there, in the corner of it, was definitely a bad one. And looks like Cynical's came into the pits after that, so you won't be saying last time. I think because of Adrian's crash and the yellow flags being out, I don't think any of these guys are going to be setting any fast times now. They'll obviously have to slow down because of the yellow flags.
Yeah.
So I think that does set in our top 5, and I think even the majority of the grid, if you want to give down the rundown on that.
Yeah, well, Tom Stevens, as we know, obviously takes that P1 position. Alongside him will be Clinical, aka Yule Thyssen, and he'll be alongside him in the other Mercedes. Jamie Good in the Racing Point will be row 2, P3. Daniel Burt in the Haas be alongside him, P4. Adrian Rich and Boy Williamson, both Red Bulls, will be row 3. Row 4, Street Racing, Sean Street in the Racing Point, and Tom Johnson and McLaren alongside him. Row 5 will be Peter Phillips and Cameron Wooderson, so that's Haas and Renault. And then in the final row 6 we have Tony Foster and ex-Tokiers.
I gotta say, I do love games sometimes, and I think someone's during the session put the car into one of the walls on the start-finish straight, and you just see the tyre from that incident rolling through the pit lane as Cameron Riddleston is. No, it's not just that. It's obviously gone through all of the pit wall, and all of the teams then. It's just rolling through the pit lane as Cameron Riddleston's coming into the pits.
Joyous, absolutely joyous. Yeah. Check out season 4 Hungary with the pit glitch on there. That was quite interesting for Nicky Visser. He was coming into the pits and suddenly discovered there was a barrier across the pit entry, which he couldn't avoid, and it actually took him out and wiped out his potential for a race win at the Hungaroring.
Or was there other cars?
No. It was literally the pit board. I think somebody had clipped it beforehand, but somehow the graphic had remained in the. I don't know how it worked, but anyway, there was a great big barrier across the pit entrance, and he just went straight into it. So that was an interesting one. Okay, so we're getting ready for the race start here in Italy. Phoebe, I mean, Tom Stevens dominating there in that qualifying session, that 1:28, 8/10 ahead of the P2 of Yule Thyssen there. That's pretty good going, especially in these wet conditions.
That is pretty good going, and to be honest, a 1:28 round Monza is a pretty fast time even in the dry when you take into account at least a full fuel load in race conditions and all of that. So it's not a bad time, conditions aside, but it's not just his performance in that qualifying session. We saw his performance in the last race that we did at Austria with that amazing recovery drive.
Yeah, from
and
13.
In both qualifying sessions, he's put himself on the start. And as we can see, the cars are off. See if there's any issues with going down into turn 1. Looks like both Mercedes at the moment, Cynical and Tom Stevenson, get a clean getaway. Stevens, I think, a bit wide braking, and that has allowed Cynical to get past him.
Xtokia gets past Peter Phillips.
Gets past him. But Team Stevens isn't done yet. He is mounting the challenge on Kirby Grande and neck and neck with Cynical, and does get him into the braking of the second chicane.
Oh, and the Haas there going straight across. It's Daniel Burt.
We've seen that plenty of times in Formula 1.
Actually, I think that was Jamie Good in the Racing Point.
Oh, that's contact around the ledge post. I think someone's hit something, or at least sprayed some gravel up. Too sure.
Yeah.
Someone did have a moment. Yeah.
Jamie Good is right on the gearbox here at Clinical as they're coming into Ascari.
We did have yellow flags there for a moment. Someone did have a moment in that mag straight.
The side there. Jamie Good definitely challenging here as they come down to Parabolica, and you can see Daniel Burt lurking in the background here. Let's go on. Oh, and there's contact. There's contact. Wheel contact there between the red point, Racing Point, and the Mercedes. It's allowed Daniel Burt to get ahead, and Daniel Burt's moved up in second place. Jamie Good is in second. Boy Williamson's moved up to fourth. Adrian Rich is now up to fifth. Tom Johnson sixth. Tony Foster and Xtokia is up to 8. Cameron Widdowson 9. In the pits goes Clinical and Street Racer.
Yeah, Street has damaged the front wing, which didn't help him one bit when it came to driving around the Parabolica. So that's why he's pitting.
Yeah, Clinical getting a new nose. Street Racer also so like getting a new nose. And he's got a penalty as well. He's got a 5-second stop-go penalty as well there for Sean Street. Xtokia coming out now.
And that's Johnson has got past Rich in the Adrian Rich in the chicane as Adrian had a bit of a moment.
Oh, and Boy Williamson going very wobbly ahead of him there. Very wobbly indeed as they were coming round. Lesmo gets past Boy Williamson. So Tom Johnson there in about 3 corners gets past both the Red Bulls.
He did not have to put in any work for that, as that's purely down to mistakes of Boyd Williamson and Adrian Rich.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just not handling the conditions at all across those 3 corners. Though, that being said, Boyd Williams is...
He's looking to challenge as he comes round Parabolica here, isn't he?
Yeah, he's 3 tenths or 2 tenths before braking zone, so looking down into turn 1. Will he out drag the main straight? Now, 110, he's surely looking to pull out towards the inside, which he does. But in the braking, as close as he is, I think without DRS assistance, but the McLaren...
Oh, the McLaren's had to take the escape there, as has Adrian Rich as well. So Adrian Rich has actually got ahead of his teammate. He's let him through, so Boy Williamson moves across. But Tom Johnson obviously does gain from that.
For Tom Johnson.
He does gain from that. I don't know whether he'll give that place back or not.
No, he didn't get overturned. He went off. I think he may have gained a time advantage.
Yeah, he gained an advantage.
Definitely not a place advantage. I think Boyd Williamson wasn't able to do anything with the braking. I think Adrian Rich went off as well. So,
in the meantime, Cameron Widdowson is starting to close down a little bit to Xtokia. It's Jack there in the race in the Williams.
Stevenson has shown his class because in front he has just raced off with nearly a 6-second gap between him and Daniel Brook.
Yeah, he set the fastest time as well in the meantime, Phoebe, a 1:31.491.
Yeah.
So he's definitely putting pedal to the metal. Just having a look down the field here. And, oh, hang on, Tom Johnson. Yeah, as Tony Foster coming into the pit. So Tom Johnson moves up, Boy Williamson moves up. Adrian Rich, ex-Tokyo. Jamie Good in the pits as well. Oh, and he's got a new nose. So Jamie Good having a new nose there. So that's costed.
Adrian Rich is right on the tail of that Ferrari as we've got yellow flag in second.
Yeah, Cameron Widdowson. That was Cameron Widdowson going through the escape road there for the first chicane.
Yeah, I'm just watching Adrian Rich as he's on the back of Tony Foster in the Ferrari. He's quite close to him for at least the next few last corners, so coming around to the first here. Yeah, first
it
would be nice to see what he can do to run down the Ascari chicane and Alabroca.
He's going to need to close him down a bit on that Ascari, but he's 7/10 off the back of him. He's got no DRS. Remember, he's got his ERS. He has got pretty full ERS. I'm wondering if he's not going to go for an ERS attack on that straight. Very close into the front. Makes the move. Nicely done. Tony Foster makes an error. And that was a good move there from Rich, wasn't it?
And Foster's getting pressured by Williams as well, because he's now 2 tenths behind him. So Tony Foster could end up losing 2 places here from that mistake in Ascari chicane. No challenge mounted going into it in Parabolica, but
Jack
as
Wilson.
I say that, Tony Foster goes wide and allowing Jack Wilson to get past.
Indeed, Jack Wilson gets past Tony Foster, moves up to 6. Adrian Rich is 5. Boy Williamson is 4. Tom Johnson in the McLaren. Oh, and he loses it again. Look at that again. And that first chicane there goes off the escape road, allows Boy Williamson to get ahead of him. And Tom Johnson's just not...
Adrian Rich as well.
Yeah, I think Adrian is making a move. Yeah, but Tom Johnson, no, Adrian goes onto the grass there. Oh, and Tom's gone wide as well. Is he going to lose it? No, he gets it back. He's got to watch it though as they come down towards the Varianti there, second Varianti, coming into the approach for Lesmo. That was a bit of a twitchy bum moment, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the Red Bulls have made contact! The Red Bulls have made contact! And that was out of turn 6. First Lesmo.
Williams is spotted into the way of Tony Foster, and there's contact there.
Oh my goodness me, we've got carnage going on here.
Possibly missing an end plate. Yes, Tony Foster is missing an end plate.
Oh, dearie me! And Cameron Widdowson has lost it in a major way. Look at this.
Cameron Widdowson is out from that.
And that's taken Adrian Rich and Boy Williamson out. So all of those drivers are out there. Surely this will be a safety car situation.
Quite possibly, but you're looking at now.
I don't know if it's actually been enabled.
Now with damage.
Oh my goodness me!
Just double yellows in sector 3. But Tony Foster's definitely going to have to climb into the pits after taking that front wing damage from the Williams spin. I don't know if Williams is still out there. Yes, as Foster just comes to the pits. I don't know if he will need to be joining the pits, but it looks like he's in.
Yeah, he's into the pits.
So
Tony Foster into the pits as well.
Yeah, so that chaos has taken across all those 3 incidents has claimed 3 drivers out of this race. Cameron Wilson, the 2 Red Bulls, Boyd Williamson and Adrian Rich, and caused damage to Tony Foster and the Williams driver as well.
Yeah, Tony Foster coming out of the pits now.
Just retired from the session as well. So
yeah, that's sector 3. That's sector 3.
Yeah, so Parabolica.
Let's have a look. Could well be. Daniel Burt coming down towards Parabolica now. We'll go on board with him. Yeah, yellow lights into Parabolica. Yellows, it's green there. So yeah, it looks like it was on the apex of Parabolica. Couldn't see the car there. But Phoebe, going back to that incident, it all happened so quickly. We saw the contact, obviously, out of 6 with the 2 Red Bulls. But this was not with relation to them. That was actually once they were coming down Seraglio towards Varianti. What happened?
What happened in that incident was, so out of the exit of the first Lesmo,
Yeah.
following on board with the McLaren, you just see the two Red Bulls have hit each other, obviously probably going side by side, and then one of them, or both of them, losing traction as the Lesmos are, even in dry, a very technical corner, which it's easy to go out wide and get on that gravel on the curb, which in the wet will not do you any good. Fortunately, the McLaren Tom Johnson was able to get through that unscathed. Just after that, we then get into our second incident, which was Williams spinning and losing traction on the exit of the second Lesmo, which brought him into the path of Tony Foster in the Ferrari. Fortunately for them, both of them just traded, I think, front wing damage. I know Foster lost an end plate on his left side. Not sure what the damage was like for the Williams. But then shortly after that, you get into the third incident, which involved Cameron Wilson, and I'm going to guess the two Red Bulls off in the distance, and that was the only incident that claimed, I think, the drivers out of all of that chaos.
Yeah.
So,
I think Cameron Wilson may have picked up damage from that incident out of the second Lesmo, which made him actually go into the barrier.
Yeah, quite possibly as well, because he would have had Ferrari and Williams to avoid. But that is the fact that it was, that wasn't just one incident, that was three separate incidents.
Three separate incidents rolled into one 4-second gap, and we're just on board with Jamie Good now as he makes the move on Peter Phillips down the straight towards turn 1, the first variante, turn 1 and 2. So Jamie Good moves up into P4.
I gotta say, with the way Tom Stevenson has driven this race in these conditions, barring, hopefully not to put the commentator's person in, barring putting the car into a wall, I don't think anyone's catching him with a 13-second gap.
I'm inclined to agree with you. I mean, Tom's pretty much been racing his own race. We haven't really gone to him since he took that first place position. Yeah, he did, and you know, even under these conditions, but he's doing his own thing here. He's racing his own race. He has set the fastest lap. Let's have a quick look here at the fastest lap. So he has set 1:31.3 as the fastest lap. Next fastest is Daniel Burton, 1:33.3. So that's a 2-second difference between first and second fastest. That's quite something, to say the least.
I gotta say, it's also quite something in these conditions to see a 14-second gap between P1 and P2, and then an 18-second gap between P2 and P3, and then you've got a 12-second gap between P4 and P3. So, though there's 6 laps left, only doing a sprint race and doing 15 laps for 100%, I think at this point our top 3 and our podium finishers have already been decided just in split difference. So everyone else is just racing.
It's early doors, we're on lap 9. We've got 6 laps obviously remaining. We're not racing the full 53 laps as this is a test session for those drivers there. I've got to say, certainly the way it looks at this moment in time, barring any incident, then that should be the grid order that we should see. But experience tells me you never know what's going to happen until you get to the end. So we will see what will happen.
Especially when we just had, I'm just on board with McLaren, and he actually didn't go through that incident unscathed. He does have front wing damage. He is missing an end plate.
He is front left.
Even the McLaren.
He's missing front left.
Damage. I think even he took some damage off those two Red Bulls when they collided a couple of laps ago.
But Tom's decided that it's not affecting him adversely enough. It could be the reason why we've seen him, go so deep. I was going to say, but that was prior to that collision that he had. So lost it a couple of times in the earlies into the first variante. And again, look at that. He's just not able to get that angle right on the entry into turn 1, is he?
Yeah, I don't know if that's because of the damage to the wing, obviously affecting the airflow of the car, or that was just him.
Don't know. We saw it earlier from him. We saw it earlier before that collision. We saw him, as I was saying, you know, miss that twice before. So that's clearly.
That's why I'm thinking it might be a conditions issue with him on his braking, because even in the dry, that is the heaviest. Monza is a circuit. It's very high speed and very not so much.
I think I'm not too sure. He's doing his own thing, but he's looking a bit scrappy at the moment. So I don't know if he's got a lack of concentration, or maybe he's got an issue with regards to that. Obviously, it will affect his downforce. 5-second penalty for Street Racer going into the pits, speeding in the pit lane there.
Ooh, so you never want to do that. Major health and safety no-no there.
Jamie Good in 4th place at this moment in time in that racing point. Peter Phillips is in 5 in the Haas. Tony Foster 6 in that Ferrari. Ex-Tokyo. Jack there in the Williams. He's currently P7.
I think with that pit stop, I think Street Races all but over, being nearly 40 seconds off.
Tom Johnson.
7th place.
Yeah, Tom Johnson picks up a 5-second penalty as well as he comes into the pits.
Yeah. Well, at least he won't have that front wing damage anymore, so I think we'll be able to see in the next 4 laps, the next time he goes through turn 1, if it was the wing giving him some issues, or if it was just him on his braking, as with that being the only sort of heavy-ish brake zone, it can be quite difficult on the cars to get it right, especially in the dry, as your brakes are not really used to working that hard throughout the rest of the lap.
They just putting Tom Stevens' tag there. I thought as he's leading the race, I'm going to need it. So let's quickly put that in there. So Tom Stevens currently leading the way.
By nearly 25 seconds as well.
Yeah, I mean, it is phenomenal the run he's doing. He is gaining lap upon lap. He's only got 3 laps remaining, but as I say, you know, he's had the, I suppose you could say, the advantage. Obviously, he had to do that work on the start, but he's had the advantage really of doing his own thing, having his own race. He hasn't got involved in any of those incidents. He hasn't had anybody around him, so he's just been able to, you know, basically, it's like a practice session, isn't it? Really, full fuel load. Go around and see how well you can do.
I mean, he's just going for a regular Sunday drive at this point, Tom Stevens. But you know, let's give him credit. He did have to fight off his teammate at the beginning.
Absolutely.
He could have had a very similar race to what we saw in Austria, of losing it at some point in the first lap and having to do a recovery drive. But this time, fortune has favoured him. He's managed to end off his teammate and just lap after lap gain, and he's actually now coming up on the Williams to lap them. So
yeah, he's coming on the back of the Williams there of Jack Wilson.
I don't know.
But yeah, phenomenal run from him, I've got to say, definitely, no 2 ways about it. Daniel Burt is still in that strong 2nd place in there in the Haas. 27 seconds. We've got a yellow flag in sector. Oh, Tom Stevens has gone off. Tom Stevens has gone off. Oh, he's lost it into the first Variante. I can guarantee that's where it was, because he looked good coming out of Parabolica. So Tom Stevens has actually DNF'd.
The commentator curse and people all praising him. He ends up not making it round.
I'm just trying to see if we can see where he is. We might not see his car on the track because there are no yellows.
Daniel Burr's just passed him on the start-finish straight. So it was after the exit of Parabolica and before turn 1 even, as Daniel Burr's now ahead of this thing.
So he must have lost it on that bit there. I'm just on board with Jamie Good now.
Yeah, he's turn 1. Daniel Burr has...
Daniel Burt's gone out as well. Daniel Burt has gone out as well. They're dropping like flies, Phoebe. They're dropping like flies.
I'm still seeing his car drive round. I think he's connected, maybe.
I think. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, now his car's gone. Yeah, no, now
He's
his car's
DNF'd.
gone.
He has DNF'd. You were just on board with him. So where was that? Where did he DNF then? And Peter Phillips.
The Lesmo.
Peter Phillips has gone out as well.
Yeah, the entire top four have gone out.
Oh, and another one. McLaren just went into the barrier there. I think that there may have been some issue there because all the drivers are retiring.
I think 2 laps early, as we've only got 3 cars left on circuit, now 2 cars.
Yeah, for some unknown reason, I get the sneaking suspicion that they decided to go to 13 laps as opposed to 15, or people are dyslexic and can't make out between 13 and 15.
I think that would be dyscalculia with the numbers, but...
Oh, well, thank you. I stand corrected, so that's all right. So, it could well be.
Yeah, that was only one.
How does that one go? Was it dyscalculia, is it?
Yeah, dyscalculia is the numbers one. Dyslexia
okay.
is, I think, language and reading, writing.
Let it not be said that with F1 tonight, you do not live and learn. So, dyscalculia is a number problem for those, and dyslexia is a letter problem. But fortunately, in this day and age, not an issue, and should never ever affect people or let them feel that they're behind in any sort of way. And we have a podium there.
We have a podium of some sort, but I don't think it's
we have a podium.
Final order. I don't think it's the final order of what was the race.
I don't think so. But in true F1 Tonight style, it ends in chaos, and that's what we like to see. I'm sure the guys just decided to go to 13 there.
13.
Yeah. So
random number to pick.
It is a bit of a random number. I'm not too sure how we're going to do this because we wanted to have a chat with some of the guys. So
yeah, I think our top 3, if they're if it still stands, was Tom Stevenson, I think Daniel Brewer in second, and then was it Tom Johnson?
Yeah,
was third.
Yeah, I've got an issue that I can't call them. I don't know if you've got them. I think we may have a problem here because unfortunately, well, if I break the stream, actually, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the cutscene. So what we're going to do is we're going to get those guys in. So bear with me 1 second. And 2. So who do we need to invite in?
I think it's Tom Strait.
Tom Stevens.
Tom Stevens.
Yep.
Tom Johnson.
Hang on.
And Daniel Brewer.
Okay, so invite to party. Let's see. Tom Johnson and who else? Daniel Burt.
Danny
Burt. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've invited those guys, so hopefully they will come in. And then I think Phoebe will have a few questions lined up for them. And indeed, Tom Johnson comes in first.
A few questions. We will obviously wait for everyone to connect.
Wait for everyone to come in. So if you could just bear with us a second, Tom, so we can get the other 2 guys in. And we'll run through a couple of questions. Certainly an interesting session, to say the least.
An unexpected ending.
To say the least. I've got to say, Tom, I'm a little bit curious as to that wonderful T-bone move I think you did in Austria, wasn't it?
Please tell me that wasn't my fault. Because I'm watching the clip now.
I think...
I've got to be honest with you, Tom.
Save the juicy stuff for the others game.
Yeah. I think, Tom, it was looking good. Let's put it like that. But we'll wait for the other 2 to come in. So we'll see what happens there. And so let's do Daniel Burt. He's actually in his Xbox app at the moment, Danny Burt. And let's see, Tom Stevens still in the lobby. Let's send them another invite so they take it. I'll tell you what, in the meantime, Phoebes, why don't you just go ahead, run through a few things there with Tom, and we'll wait for the other guys to come in, and then we'll deal with them once they come in.
Yeah, thanks for that, Eddie. So, we've got...
Now we've got them in coming in. That's typical, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, this is typical.
Right, okay, so Tom Stevens, if you bear with us a second.
Tom.
Danny Burt, if you bear with us a second. Phoebe's going to take this forward. So, Phoebe, all yours.
Right, now that we have everyone here, thanks Eddie for that. So that was an interesting race. I think I'd like to start off with Austria and the first race that we did. Sort of um, Tom Stevenson, and sort of like what was going through your head, sort of like after the sort of spinning on the first lap and having to sort of make that recovery drive for the race.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't plan on spinning, but just lost the rear, which made my tires overheat massively, and I thought I'd have to pit, but I stayed out, drove slowly, let my tires cool down, and then tried to pick up the pace, and didn't think I'd be able to get back up to P1. Thought maybe a podium, but somehow managed it. It's not bad.
Yeah, for those of us watching it, it was a phenomenal recovery drive and all that. So that was a good race. I think where most of the chaos slide was with that Italy, that race in Monza that just happened, especially that incident on what was it, lap 7, lap 8, with all those cars colliding. And all that. So, Tom Johnson, sort of like, how difficult sort of was it navigating that sort of like minefield when everyone was sort of coming together and just trying to get through it unscathed?
I got fairly fortunate because it was, I think it was Boy and Adrian both lost it.
Yeah.
I narrowly avoided them coming down to the last few corners. And then I think it was one of the new drivers.
It was the first Lesmos.
In the Williams, he lost it. I looked behind me after the exit of the last corner of the Lesmo. Looked behind me, and the Williams had lost it and took out somebody else.
Yeah, the Williams.
And there was about 7 or 8 car pile up.
Yeah, the Williams spun into the front of the Tony Foster in the Ferrari, and I think Cameron Wilson was on. Yeah, and Cameron Wilson was unfortunate enough to get tangled up in that as well, and he unfortunately went out.
Yeah, both.
I just try to think. Manage it, sort of like managing that in the conditions, because in a dry race it's easier to manage that. In the wet, that's surely got to compromise your sort of downforce and ability to get around the corners a bit more.
As you probably saw flicking through on the stream, you saw that I managed to outbrake overestimate the downforce.
For as long as we've played games, there have been players willing to break the rules in order to win, and it's no different in computer gaming.
It just wasn't worth pitting for, I didn't think, until I lost my full wing on about lap 8.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Alright, so Daniel, obviously that race, I think majority of it, at least on that Italy one, you were sort of, I think, left in your own space with obviously Tom Stevenson just racing on ahead and creating a massive gap, and there being obviously not too much behind you. So in those sort of situations, because obviously with it being a 15-lap race, there's no way of sort of gaining down that distance unless something happened. It's like, what goes through your mind as a driver when you've got that massive gap in front of you and behind you and all of that? There's just not much you can do other than manage it.
Yeah, precisely that, really. I mean, I know Tom, so I knew the minute he was in front of me, I wasn't going to be catching him anyway. And then, yeah, it was just managing the gap to the car behind. I think it was pretty steady the most of the race. And then, not sure, I think it was Jay Goo, I don't know his full name, so I'm going to have to say the short one. He was behind me towards the end, so he was gaining quite quickly after that. He had more pace, I think, after his pit stop on the fresher inters. But yeah, just when you're on your own, it's a little bit boring. If it's a real race, obviously it's great 'cause it's fresh air. You can just worry about your own race and try and keep pace with the rest of the guys. But in a race like that, where there's not really much of a result to be had, it's a bit boring on your own, but it's all right.
Yeah, I think both of you, Tom and Tom Stevenson and Dan, you can sort of both sort of testify to this sort of like what happens in the mindset towards like the end of the race when you're in that situation when you've got this massive gap, no one's possibly going to overtake you, got that position unless something goes wrong. Does that sort of like relax the mindset a bit, or are you still sort of like focused and just making sure that nothing does go wrong and that?
Who do you want to answer first?
Well, Tom, you won, so do you want to?
I'll let Dan first. Go on, Dan.
Oh, thanks, mate. No, definitely. I mean, for myself anyway, there's definitely no relaxing, no matter where I am, what the gap is behind or in front, because you make one mistake and it can be game over. Doesn't matter where you are. If you crash out or if you lose a bit, you lose a couple of seconds going off track onto the gravel or something, it can be game over just like that. If you, especially on a 100% race like an F1 tonight, if you lose concentration for a little bit towards the end, and you give it up after 50 odd laps. It's the worst possible thing. So it's just focus the whole race until the checkered flag, really, for me at least.
Yeah, and for me, very similar to Dan. Whether I'm leading or in a completely different area of the track to anyone else, I don't relax. I still continue to push, even when you might think that you've got to go easy. Just to make sure you pick up those points, I continue to push, test myself, maybe try and go for a faster lap than my current best lap, etc. But precisely what Dan said, you can't lose concentration, especially in a 100% race. For example, last time out in Azerbaijan, I looked to the left as I was concerned my batteries were dead. I checked to see if the batteries were charged, looked back, and there I was in the wall. So you can't lose concentration at all. And yeah, I just continue to push forward.
So I think the final questions for the night, sort of just with the next race coming up on Tuesday, just sort of one at a time. Just want to sort of get your all of your sort of like thoughts on it, and what you'd hope to sort of like get out from it. If we can start sort of in order of sort of like placements in that last race. If we want to start with you, Tom.
So that's Tom Stevens.
Yeah, no, that's Tom. Oh, me, was it? Oh, I thought
in order to place him.
Downwards, upwards. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, I mean, I haven't had the best results this season. I think I could have been a lot higher up in the standings. But Spain, I think, won't be too bad of a track to me. I only turned offline within the last 2 months, so I knew I could have a shaky start, and I definitely have done. But yeah, hopefully I can challenge for the win at Spain, as it shouldn't be too much of an issue with penalties, which would cost me at Australia.
Dan, what about you?
Get some points. That's the main thing for me. For Haas, it seems to be either one of us finishing every time at the moment, rather than both of us together. So hopefully we can change that for Spain. And yeah, it's in my head. Normally Spain for me is one track that I don't particularly like, at least building up to the race. But driving the track most times, once I get the first couple of laps down and I get into a rhythm, I actually quite enjoy the track. So yeah, it should be quite fun. But yeah, just want to bring some points home really. That'd be good.
Tom Johnson, leaves you with that one.
Well, I just need to carry on getting some points. I've got a P10 and a P9 in my first 2 races. I'm just looking to support Gary in my McLaren and try and help us get up to a decent place in the constructors, really. like Daniel, I've not got a. Spain's not one of my favourite tracks, but when it actually gets to it, it's one of my stronger ones when I'm actually racing it, really.
All right. Well, thanks for your time and joining us post-race, even though these are only just test sessions. Hopefully, on Tuesday, I can speak to some of you guys again after the race, depending on the results, of course. So, good luck with that when that comes. And I'm going to now throw things back over to Eddie.
Well, thank you very much, and a fantastic job there, I've got to say, Phoebe, on obviously talking to the drivers and that post-race debrief and getting feedback from them. This is something that we will be carrying forwards in the mainstream for F1 Tonight UK. Apologise for the back screen. It's not very exciting, bit of a static there, but we're going to get working on that. So we've got something a little bit more exciting to keep your attention when we're talking to the drivers, and also some way of identifying who the drivers are whilst we're having that discussion with them. So thankfully, we've had an interesting test session. I think that the 3 drivers tested have proved their mettle. So we're looking, hopefully, at full 20 race drivers for both the F1 Tonight leagues. That's F1 Tonight Netherlands racing on a Thursday night from 7:30 UK time, 8:30 Central European time, and Tuesday nights F1 Tonight UK same time 7:30 UK time, 8:30 Central European time. We will be in the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya this Tuesday with F1 Tonight UK. Tom Stevens, we hear there, is obviously looking to try and repair the damage that he's made to his championship standing over the previous 2 races. Tom Johnson and Danny Burt obviously working hard to get the points up. It's going to be an exciting race, I'm sure, in Spain. And on Thursday night, we're going to be at the Principality of Monaco for F1 Tonight Netherlands. So join us then. From me, it's a good night. And from
me, it's good night. It's been fun joining you and watching the carnage unfold.
Well, it's going to be a lot more to follow, I'm sure. So thank you all very much. We hope you've enjoyed this little test stream. Obviously, main streams, say, Tuesdays and Thursdays. We'll see you there. Good night, everyone.